Alright, guys, welcome back to another episode. Excuse the no shirt and the crusty eyes. I have pretty much just woken up, but I wanted to go through. So, yeah, we did end up getting paid, and this is why I love Topstep. I cannot recommend them enough. Within 24 hours, the first payout request was approved, and the second payout request was approved. Basically, looking at yesterday, a bit of an overview. We had Monday's highs here. We got in around here, got stopped out here, and then re-entered around here. Rode it up until these highs. The accounts yesterday were looking quite good. So we're up 4K on one of them, and then 3.8 on the other as well here. So super blessed, super stoked. We've just passed our funding pips challenge. We've hit the 3 minimum trading days, haven't hit our daily loss, haven't hit our max loss, and we're at the profit target. Just waiting for this one to be approved as well, hopefully. 10K account. We still have my funded futures here as well. We're currently in a trade on EU going long. Just looking at the dollar still plummeting. Yesterday I thought we were going to have some support and continue to push up, but it looks like we've continued to melt, closing bearish on the day while pushing up higher. Makes sense, we potentially hit this daily volume imbalance or maybe come into this fair value gap. There's a tiny little one in here too. So I'm literally just going to ride this long. I've got an alert as we approach here, and it's just to close this trade. So we'll see if we can run this up. We're needing about another 1.8 or so to hit our 4,000 profit target for my funded futures. But yeah, it's been an incredible week. I really am super blessed, super grateful. We got all the accounts back now. So with the payouts, all of these accounts are now linked once more. So you can see the balance is now dropped on these ones. And then these two main accounts are on day 4. If we can have another winning day today, doesn't have to be today, but next winning day, 200 plus, that's another payout request for 2 more accounts, which is huge. I really like this idea of stacking the accounts and intermittently stacking them as well. So it's not all grouped in one. I'm not focused on all the accounts at one time. It's nice to separate them. We still have this combine as well, which we're about 1,100 off from being funded. It's all looking pretty positive at the moment for the time being. So I'm gonna let this, both trades here. So we've got this MNQ short, and then we've also EU long going. I'll check in with you guys as these progress, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're getting a nice reaction here on MNQ. Looking for this 5 minute, we now have this beautiful wick. Happy if price wants to come and retest 50% of this, which it looks like we're probably going to do. If we can get a nice strong closure, we're going to add the rest of our position on. We'll go 6 contracts here, so it's going to triple this, so it's at 280, 420. 420 total loss. If we can get up here, we can probably adjust our stops. We've got a tiny little gap. We can take this high. So that now is 254, 381 if we get this up to 6 lots. Probably might be a little bit more as we're going to be under our initial entry actually. But it's about 400. Alright, so about 50% of the wick here. If we zoom down to the lower time frame, we can get a close below this wick here now. I'll use that as the confirmation. Don't know why we're still showing bullish momentum, but the candle is bearishly printed. Big downward move here. Just trying to see, is this pocket up here we could run for, but this is all I need to see.
Order
We're
filled.
add on our full size here. So just watching the 5 again, what we wouldn't want to see is like this still being respected and we close bullish. It's not going to be a good sign, but based on all this PA before, we've tapped up into VWAP. Still do have this gap up here. I do think the draw is now a lot lower, so I'm just going to adjust TP. We're going to be targeting that 4-hour BISI. Got that hourly FEG. Take some partials off at the daily, so we'll probably take off 3. At the daily BISI, we might just bounce off here, but the main position we're going to be targeting is about that hourly FEG 4-hour BISI, I think we can honestly take this just a little bit lower. This looks like a really good pocket for us to continue going back to the upside. So we will just wait and see what price wants to do. I'll check in with you guys in a bit. Alright, so we did get in just a little bit early on this position. I really, that's the second time now. I noticed I did that yesterday, confirming on the 15 or the 30-second and not zooming out to at least the minute. I don't think I want to go much lower than a minute, but these 15-second and 30 seconds are really good if we're in a downward move to look to add into positions, scaling in and pyramiding those points using these timeframes for that. But actual entries should be on a higher time frame. That's definitely something to note. The risk is getting up, but that's the beauty of having some profitable days. You at least have your buffer to capitalize on moves. So Asian session move, I'm not really anticipating too much of a run here. Just looking at Asian session highs, we've got our stop loss above those highs as well. I'm looking here to make sure there's no pockets, because if we're going to go lower, we might tap up above Asian high and then come push down. But I'd like to see what we saw yesterday, Asian highs not tapped. We push down lower and take Asian session lows, pushing into all of these spots which we've identified before. We'd like to see a bit of a drop, but considering how yesterday's upward move was, we might just continue running straight up. Alright, we're getting a nice reaction off MNQ now. I'll take this limit off. Hopefully we take these Asian session lows and just push down. Ideally what we'd be wanting to see is Asian session lows reaching around here, and then just before London open we look to sweep, take these and then react. Potentially London is the expansive downward move, hopefully to our target around here. But definitely wanting these Asian session lows to be taken now and move continuously to the downside. Where stops are in a logical space, I'll put them up here just in case we wick that and then go lower. Maybe from this high makes a bit more sense. And we'll let the trade do what the trade wants to do. Alright, we are back. I've just woken up from another nap, so no shirt back on this time, but I did move my stops to break even on this downward move. It looks like we swept Asian low and then have come up to take Asian highs now. Because we haven't dipped much lower, it looks like this is going to be the continuation spot from here. Wicked out Asian low, didn't close below, and then now it looks like we've taken Asian highs. Haven't taken this ultimate high here, so we've made equal highs, which are susceptible to be ran through. Still got a long way to go up to the all-time highs. Be looking for an entry around this point and switch our bias to be looking for longs now. Cool. I'll jump back on. Oh, also as well, so we did take the loss on the Europe futures here. So I believe we got in, we were on like what, a 5 minute? Yeah, this was our entry around here. It wicked up a little bit and then it came right down. We went to this volume imbalance, closed under the volume imbalance, pushed up, went even lower. But now, if we check the 30 minute, we've actually wicked out these lows. And more importantly, Dixie is respecting this 30 minute SIBI here now as well. So this is looking like a really good spot to get in. If Dixie wants to push lower, take out all of these lows here. Got equal lows, 3 lots of equal lows right here. So if we can push lower into this volume imbalance, I think this is the starting of the move. We did get in a little bit early, but we're getting a nice reaction already. And then we're targeting this 30 minute SIBI in here. This should be enough for the amount that's needed for the account balance, but we'll just have to wait and see. So it's looking positive. Approaching the kill zones now as well. Timing is really important. I think we got in about here. We haven't really moved that much, but then approaching the kill zone now, hopefully we do start to see a bit of displacement. I'll just check the calendar as well, make sure that there is no news coming out today. So yeah, I will come back when we've got an opportunity ready to go. Alright, back on NQ. Noticing at this 4-hour closure, it's looking pretty bullish for the time being. We've still got some time. So I'm going to mark out this hourly level right here. 4 hours. 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 Let me tidy this up just a little bit. Alright, so I'm gonna just start adding some pyramid entries here, just to make sure we do get filled. I'm going to put one in there, one in here, at this level here, at 50% of this wick, and then we 5, the remaining 5 down in here, if we do get lower and take this out. Alright, we're tapped in, and that 1 minute volume imbalance, so just going to be under the Asian session low. Since we've already taken it, doesn't make much sense to come all the way back down here. But again, those levels that we did outline before could still be in play. Alright, so 1 minute we are exploding, looking to see if we can come back in here. We're going to add 3 more at this spot right here. Closing above those, so it does indicate a lot of strength to the upside. We might not even come down. Yeah,
Order filled.
Going to add 3 in here. Time frames. We're going to add another 2 in here. Volume imbalance here on the 32nd. FEG 1 minute volume imbalance here too. So take this all the way down to the bottom there. I wonder if that's the 1 minute volume imbalance. Yeah, which we're at right here. We'd want to see a close above this. If not, we might just be coming down to fill all of this. Let's check the risk and what we're sitting at now. Getting a bit hefty. See if we get this close above. Close just under it. But then nice strong reaction here as well. So tapped into this 3 minute. Looking like we're getting a nice push back to the upside here. Add 5 in here on the 15-second, and that will be it for size.
Order filled.
There's our last spot in here. Get rid of these, get rid of this. Do have this big gap in here which we might run for. Still resting above Asian session high, which is what we'd want to see for continuation to the upside. Europe futures, that's not ideal. I think it's this reaction with Dixie here. Just retesting 50% of this wick, most likely. We'll see how we react. Nice that we've taken Asian highs now as well. I should probably put a stop loss in as well. Yeah. So leaving this little pocket of room if price does want to push and hit that spot. So approaching the start of the London kill zone at 2. Ideally we just want to see a bit of a rip up now from here. But checking out where our target should be here. I still think all-time highs, to be honest. All-time highs makes a lot of sense in my mind. I think maybe this spot here, just at this wick, if we can reach up into it. Be a monumental day if we do get up there, but we'll just wait and see what happens here. Approaching the last few seconds of this hourly closure. Looks like we're respecting this volume imbalance, tiny one, and this busy on the 5 minute. As long as we don't close below 50% of this candle, I still think we're good to go up. Switch to lower time frames for now. Definitely the reaction that we'd want to see. We just want to see if we can get above this CB though. Still got that horizontal dotted line. That's what I'm looking for. See if we can get above that. If we can, that puts my mind at ease, at least for M&Q. I'll adjust my stops because we got a lot of risk on the table. Let's see if we can get a closure here. Hopefully on this candle now. Exactly what we want to see, so we're going to adjust the stops here. I still think that's a really nice spot to tap in for a little bit more. Potentially actually come down to this 15 here. If price wants to come all the way down hourly, we'll see where the 4 closed. We really shouldn't be going below this. Might come to 50% of this wick, but what's that going to put our risk at? Yeah, it's quite heavy, but at least that's protected for the time being. I'm happy to leave this where it is, and we'll just watch the charge, see the reactions if we're coming down to these levels. But ideally, we just pump from this point on. We're already at Asian session highs. Doesn't look like we're reversing down. We've closed above yesterday's massive bullish day. Big momentum here, so hopefully there's just continuation straight back to the upside. Nice, we're getting this reaction on Euro futures now as well. Looks like we jumped up into about 50% of this inverted fair value gap. Mark this out, yeah, almost to the T. If we can come down to midnight close to here, I do think lower prices make sense. And again, targeting that daily volume imbalance or potentially lower. We're in pretty good for both positions here now. So I am not too stressed, but again, just wanting to check the lower time frames here. Looks like we're still struggling to close above here. It's learning from the previous lessons that we discussed about. So we have a down close candle. It's not 50% of this wick. We have wicked again though. So if this 5 minute closes somewhere down here, it's probably going to let me know that we might be aiming for down here. If that's the case, we'll just adjust stops right up to here. If he taps us out, then we'll look to get back in around here, just for a better entry. Happy to take the short-term L, hopefully for the long-term W. But it just depends on this closure. If we close here, even if it's bearish, I'm not too worried. But if we close down here, bearish, then... So that's still not strong enough for me. Even though we have 2 wicks here, it's still not strong enough of a downward momentum, negating all of this for me to be interested or worried here. Check what's going on a lower time frame. Still got this 1 minute FEG as well in here. It looks like on a 1 minute chart we might be just going to fill all this. I anticipate that it's going to run off without me, and that's why I get in at those levels, but should always be waiting for that pullback, taking out the liquidity and then going longer. I still think that's going to be the overall narrative for now. Bouncing off Asian session highs here. I'd like to see this liquidity taken though. Maybe tap up into here and then look to go forward. But we could just find support from Asian session highs here as well. Just have to wait and see. Seeing if we can invert this on the 1 minute. If we can't invert, I'll just close out and then look to get in same 10 contracts, but just lower. Get a better entry, less drawdown. Last 10 seconds. Alright, we do invert. Now we'd just be wanting this BISI respected. Alright, small volume imbalance here, 50% of this wick. But it's looking like we might come down a little bit before we go up. See how this minute closes for us. So we respect the volume imbalance. We do close a little bit below the BISI. Again on a 1 minute, so I'm not expecting these levels to be heavily respected as much. Let's see, we're approaching 50% of this wick now. I'm already not liking this price action too much, but we'll just see whether we can respect this wick. If not, we'll wear the loss and then look to get back in. We flip bullish here after testing Asian session high twice, respecting this volume imbalance. If we respect this again, it's looking pretty positive. It's not looking great, if I'm honest. So what I might do, sticking to the original plan, I just put stops here. And if we get stopped out, we'll look to get back in and just wait to see when we have some volatility injected back to the upside. This PA just isn't too great right now. Not getting that push up that I was expecting. Yep, that's fine. We've still got this hourly level, quite interested in going on the higher time frame again. So yeah, if we can push all the way down here, it'll be a better entry for us. I do this 15-minute level though, if I'm being honest. Even this one down here. This looks ideal. We just joined the party a little bit too early. I was expecting, especially after we get these wicks and we don't close above any of these highs, clear indication they're going down. Probably should have shut it out a little bit earlier when I was saying if we didn't hold those levels to go back up. But it's fine. I'm glad that we took that $236 loss as opposed to the 1.2 that was sitting all the way down here too. We do have another tiny little 15-minute in here too. I think this would be a decent entry if we can get all the way down there. Being so close to this 3 minute, but with the reaction to the downside here, I'm not convinced this is where we turn around and go higher. Especially with the hourly and all these gaps below us as well. Just gotta be patient on this one. We'll check Euro. Really not wanting dollar to go down here. Finding support on VWAP on on the smaller time frames. Just checking the 1 minute. We did open here below this wick. More than likely we find a bit of resistance here, push lower. And now it's just the point of patience, just waiting. And if it runs without us, it runs without us. It is what it is. Alright, starting to see some action now. So Dixie is tapped midnight so many times and it's looking like it's coming down again. Getting some nice reaction on Euro to the upside. On MNQ here, I'm glad we stopped ourselves out here when we did. Looks like we're pushing lower and lower. I've just switched it to the hourly level. So all these levels, although there are gaps below, I might go 50% with this. Because usually it never really goes to that level and then bounces straight away off. But if it does, we'll be able to watch it and see. So we're approaching this hourly quite nicely here at 2. Let's see how we react. Watch the lower time frames. Now I'd want to see some sharp momentum to the upside. Buyers getting involved. Just going to check where stops are as well for all these levels. We do still have this 15-minute here. Nice reaction at this point. We'd like to see this liquidity equal lows swept, potentially come down into here, and then look to go up. So we're going to add another 5 down here. Wow, there you go. As a push, hopefully we have a sweep of these lows and then push up. But if we just start exploding to the upside, is what it is. So if we find support here in this little gap, again, still wanting this to be swept. Have these buyers get stopped out and then the move occurs. I don't think we're going to get it. Let's have a look. Ideally we come back above these highs now. It looks like 50%. This could be the sweep. So again, just a lack of patience on my part. Once again, having that initial plan and just getting sucked into what price is doing on the micro time frames. Notice that now, like 3 days in a row, we've done something similar. But this is what we want to take out these equal lows. We want to bounce back above these highs now. I want to see this respected. Nice reaction.
Order
There we
filled.
go. Beauty. Stops are just going to go at this low right here. And we're going to see if we can ride this to the upside now. Break above this high is what we'd be looking for. So this move will usually always suck people out. And this is really what tilts people. Like you're in, you're seeing it move, it just quickly comes down against you, and then it goes in the direction that you had initially planned. So just be mindful of that liquidity, especially when lows are very close together. What retail will see as support is just a target for people to go and take out, and then the move occurs. So I knew that, I just didn't wait. We still got a decent entry, to be fair. We're on a very small time frame, and entry to where it actually went to wasn't too bad. Still wanting to see this closure above this high to validate that we are going back to the upside. We do have another 15-minute BISI below us, but ideally at this point in time, approaching 3 o'clock as well, this is where we'd want to start to see the move go. Nice tight stops from the entry as well. This is the ideal way to get in, right at the lows where everyone's going to have their previous stop losses. I've got a lot of size on, so there's 2 whole mini contracts on 20 micros, and because my stop is so low, it's still quite, I wouldn't say insignificant, but it's smaller risk on the account compared to that 1.2 that we saw before. So yeah, definitely I'm happy with the decision to close out up here where we were before. And then now we're just going to target, just trying to see if there's another CB on the 4 hour, which seems significant enough for us to go to, or maybe like a daily level where we'll find a bit of support. So that's probably a pretty key level. There's another one in here. So we'll take 3 off here. Take another 3 off here, and then the rest at all-time highs. And this is why it can be, as long as you're not too caught up with the idea of the loss, because if you can't just take the loss early here for a better entry, that's what holds you back a lot of the time. If we still had our entry where we were, we'd still be in significant drawdown right now, even though we're getting the reaction we wanted. So rather than holding and not accepting the loss and having that loss aversion stop you. Just take the loss, take the early L, and get back in. It's like losing the battle but not the war, right? We did lose this battle, and that was from lack of patience on my part, chasing the FOMO, but we're getting the reaction we were hoping to see now, which is brilliant. Stops can go break even now just because we've got a lot of size on. We're seeing this reaction. Just making sure there's no fair value gaps around here that we could come down into. Some volume imbalances, but especially after this steep move, I think now we just run for these highs and then continue moving, especially if we get to 3 open as well. So beautiful trade right here, especially on the 1 minute. We're still respecting 50% of this hourly BISI. Oh, sorry, not the hourly. This will be the 15-minute, I believe. Let me just shorten this. Didn't even label it. And yeah, beautiful. We wick touch right down. That's where we get that steep reaction after taking out the lows that we printed here. Respecting the bodies of 50% and looking to explode, really. So it's Wednesday, as we were saying before. Wednesday, Thursday usually are the big expansion moves. Hopefully I'm counting on this to take us all the way close to equal highs, and then potentially tomorrow is where we run it, and this is the nice reaction. So we'll just check Euro. That's not looking great. That's not good at all, but we are at this 15-minute BISI now too. There's some gaps up here as well. This could still just be Asia taking the highs, but we'll just wait and see. Keep on MNQ. This is the main one for the time being. I'm happy we built a bit of a buffer on the My Fund of Futures. If we lose out, it will take us to probably about starting balance again, but that's fine. I'm probably just going to look at trading MNQ on this account as well. But this is the difference between futures and Forex. Forex does move a whole lot slower. I've made 3 errors today with my patience, so I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm going to minimize the risk rather than taking it down here. But I think just letting this one play out, even if it's a few hours, we'll come back US session. Hopefully that's where we'll see what we want to do. But for now, MNQ continues to rip, which is what we want to see. I like watching the lower time frames once we're in a move now, because usually for pyramiding, we should be respecting all these levels now, moving up. I'm going to let the trade do what it needs to do, and I'll check in with you guys in a bit. MNQ, we were approaching the highs we were at before, so this was pretty much our original entry. So definitely could have held on, but I'd much rather get a higher lot size down here than keep what we had up here. So hopefully we can keep on just pushing and pushing, and we're just going to let this one run and see how we go. Alright, so we just had London Open. Pretty aggressive downward move. If we look at the 1 minute, still respecting this 1 minute quite nicely, but definitely looking to try to see if we can come up and take these highs. That's what we need to see. Still teetering again. We still have that 15-minute CB below us here. Wouldn't want to be tapped out at this point, but hopefully this low can hold for us here. Ideally wanting to be getting above VWAP here on the 15-second. So we did just get stopped out on our Euro. Short idea looks like Dixie is back on the pump. I've got a basketball game at 6:20 and it's about 6:04 now. I'll be here for about another 15 minutes. Hopefully we can see MNQ taking those highs and moving up. It's good reaction. Very good reaction. Cool. So I'm just letting the trade do what it needs to do. I'll check in with you guys in a bit. Alright. And we are back. Yeah. As we're seeing up here, I'm not too stressed about it. The only thing that I am worried about, is these follower and leader accounts. So through this one at 280, I'm probably just going to leave, see if we can get some recovery on this in the next week. So I'm just going to unpair all of these. What did happen was I did move my stops to break even once we left, and then I got stopped out. I checked my phone at basketball, whereas I should have just left it, wait till I got home. It was about 3 o'clock where we had a push up, And so I got back in, and then price came down and reversed again. So I'm not too sure where we've gone. I think we went to that 15-minute Sibi that we were talking about, but that was below this original one. I'm just trying to see where we've actually stopped, maybe on a higher time frame. There's a tiny volume imbalance in here. It's an interesting spot for price to come all the way down into and then just randomly reverse. Alright, cool. So I'm just going to set the daily loss limit to 1,500. We are going to liquidate. So now we got the visual of it all up here. I think even 1,000 was a bit steep. Maybe 500-600 would have been the max to lose for the day, just with the account sizes where they're at. But again, no risk, no reward at the end of the day. So I'll check in with you guys as we approach 8:30 open and 9:30 as well. Go from there. Really gross price action. All of these volume imbalances, fair value gaps, wicks, they're all filled. They're all tapped. So I really can't get a strong read right now. Looking for a break above this high or this low on a 15-minute time frame at least. But gonna wait for 8:30 open this next minute. And nothing. Straight off the open. No movement, nothing. It's a very strange day. 9:30 gives us something a little bit more, but we'll check in about 5 minutes and see what price is wanting to do. I genuinely have no read. I don't know what we're doing, so we might just have to sit on our hands. Okay, we're finally starting to see some sort of momentum here. Looking at this 5-minute closure, ideally we'd like to close under VWAP here, which would indicate that we're probably going to push a little bit lower before 9:30, and then 9:30 will be the move that we most likely use to run up. Okay, so looking at this 5-minute closure, we've gone up, tapped, and then we're closing potentially under VWAP now as well. So sizing right down. That's our signal right there.
Order filled.
Stops here. They're gonna look to come back to, where was it? 50%'s about there. Just wait and see. Alright, we are starting to move finally. After really not much of a day at all. Just in this few minutes, we've taken out all of pretty much from Asia to London, which is just crazy to have just liquidity building this whole time. I think it makes sense that, I feel like with most people seeing yesterday's price action and price wanting to go higher, lots of people are going to be thinking, let's buy. And so to fake all of them out, take price as low as it can go, refill, and then pump back up, especially on middle of the week, that's what I'm anticipating. So we've got some trades on. We just took a partial. We've taken about $90 or $80 off there. I was reflecting on it a bit after. I think what I did earlier was trade yesterday's chart. Yesterday's chart coming in and closing out the trade just a little bit below Monday's highs as we did plan. It was about a difference of $500 or $600. Not that it's about the money, and I'm recognizing I'm focusing on the money way too much as well. By leaving that trade and just going to bed early rather than staying up the extra hours that I did and then still closing it out, just slept, wake up today, would have been up an extra 500 times by 2, so an extra grand on the accounts, close to payout day. That mindset of me just thinking about the money is what was making me feel like I could just leave it, go play basketball, come back and just have a wad of cash in front of me, which is not the way to be thinking at all. Yesterday being so close to the highs, it made sense to leave it. Stops were in a decent place. The time that we entered in at London was purely speculation that we were going to blast, and evidently, of course, we didn't. I needed to stop trading yesterday or the last trade and just focus on this trade as a completely new, different trade, and not bring anything else apart from what I know about market structure and use that for every single trade. So I'm actually going to meditate again. I didn't do that yesterday. I have read my daily proverbs, which I think is fundamental to coming to the charts. So I'm just going to meditate for a bit. Stops are in a logical place. We've already partialed on this trade as well. I'm cool with that, and I'm not worried about the income that's coming in by doing these decisions. Extra lots, extra money, but extra risk and other factors. A win is a win. I just need to start remembering that. I don't need to get cocky. especially after a payout, you're feeling like you're on top of the world and you can trade everything at any time. But reality is we're all speculating here. No one knows what the future is going to hold. So, yep, I'm going to meditate, come back to you guys. Okay, and we're back. My mic's playing up a little bit, unfortunately, but it's okay. This was actually a gift from two good friends. So, super appreciated. Shout out Jack and Kira if you're watching this. Beautiful. So, we're back. We did have this massive displacing move. We did come all the way to that hourly Bissy where we had our TP. So yeah, we got stopped at about here. It's still continuing to run. This is wild. But I'm still watching for the reverse. This is what we were anticipating during London. We took the highs. At the start of the day, the very first trade that we took our first L on, it was to try come down in here and then look to go up. Based on me seeing that we're closing above on a 5 minute, we were just going to run up during London. And we did have a bit of a move and then just dropped on us again. We were anticipating a pullback maybe to here, taking out these lows, and then we go. Did not anticipate this. But using Tom Hugar's strategy of just the 5 minute waiting for that wick, and we're starting to see this print here now. I've drawn this box of the first fair value gap, and we didn't invert it really until even this candle here. We're still closed under until this big move. I've drawn it out on the box. We've tapped the bottom of this, and the first 4 hour closure was above 50%. This is actually a SIBI, an inverted SIBI. We have this wick here. I don't want to see this wick taken, but if we can close more than 50% above this previous candle after seeing this wick, the bottom of this inversion, and it's looking like we've just taken out this 4 hour low as well, so some liquidity taken. We do have this wick here as well. It's now 10:10. Usually around that mark, you're not seeing the candle go lower than the candle printed at. Sometimes you can wick and then bounce right back up, but you need to see displacement. A lot of the times around that time, doesn't have to be exactly, because I'm just thinking back now, I've seen some examples where it's not that. But again, still not minding this, taking out some liquidity, but wanting to see a closure back above 50% of this. If we can eclipse this completely and look to close, this is actually going to be my signal to go long. A lot of people are going to be thinking we're just tapping up into here or maybe here to continue lower. We've just hit the 79, but I reckon if we extend this to the wicks and then we go 50% of this wick, I'd be very interested to see where 50% is. Quite close to that retracement level. We got a bunch of factors lining up here. If we break it down maybe on a lower time frame, just trying to see if there's any gaps. Okay, so we're literally at one right now. We can move this 15-minute BC down to here, and we see the reaction of this here. Ideally, we're wanting to see something a bit lower. It's 50% of the wick. Maybe on a 5 minute. Let's have a look. Around this level on a 5. We still do have this big volume imbalance right here. What a fake out that would be, coming all the way here and then reversing right there. That's filled. So I'll just draw this out too. It's below 50 and it's significantly getting there. I really wouldn't want this to be filled. We'd want to see this respected. Okay, right on 50% of the wick. There is a 3 minute BISI in here. So the 15 minute here, got to wait on the 15 minute on this side to see where the closure is. It's looking pretty nice thus far, but again, this side once it closes is where we need to be looking. So got all the levels, these key lines that just watching on these time frames, being patient on the reversal now. There was a time up above I was thinking, because on the lower time frame, it looked nice for a reversal. I think like a 1 minute or maybe a 15 second. Let me get in long here, but learn from the mistakes, and usually for it to be a key level, you're wanting to see it respected on the lowest time frame. If we're on a 15 second, we should still see that level not getting traded through. And if we do break just below, it's literally the tap, and then we're coming straight back up. 79% retracement right here. Watching this left hand side to see if we get a nice closure on the 15 minute. We're back at the 15 minute BISI now. This shirt has come back off again. It's very hot where I am right now. We saw the reversal pattern, so we had a wick. You can see it on the 5 minute here. We had this long wick. This wasn't enough of a closure above for me. We're pretty much at 50% of the previous candle. Doesn't indicate too much strength. Beautifully off the 79 retracement level though, using the wicks. This candle closure was the confirmation. Had my limit order down here on a 1 minute, trying to get filled, but we never came back down. Once we saw significant movement to the upside, I just got in and joined the move here. I got stops at pretty much break even here, which definitely isn't ideal because we got pockets that price could come down, especially if we're going to retrace before going up higher. 15 minutes right here. We've also got this gap down in here. It's not the greatest stop placement, but with just how much we're down for the day, it's not worth risking even putting it here or here and then risking getting back to exactly where we were a few hours before New York session. Closing right back above these previous highs is a pretty positive sign. We're really wanting this 10 a.m. macro high to be taken, especially because it's a wicking high as well. So you can see here's 10 a.m. We've gone up, wicked it, closed. That's what started this downward move. Ideally wanting to close above this wick. So I just marked it in orange. We've got VWAP that we're contesting with here, which is probably why we're having a bit of a hard time breaking through. But if we can push above here, I really like the hourly closure that we got. Dipped all the way down, faked out a lot of people, and then continuing up, respecting this level right here. With the momentum that we saw already taking Monday's high on Tuesday, made sense, especially because it was such a big steep move with not really any pullbacks. We just went straight up. We get some sort of retracement. Didn't get anything in Asian session, didn't get anything in London, so I was anticipating this in New York. And now at 10 o'clock, looking at your 10-10 reversal. So if you bring this down, 10 o'clock started the spooling move to the downside. And then this was our 10-10 candle. We did dip a little bit below, closed above, and we seem to be pushing up. The only thing I don't like about this, apart from this candle, we don't really have a displacing move to the upside. It's just been steady. In saying that, if I break it down, we can see on the 15, it's been pretty uncontested as well. What would really indicate whether this is genuine or not is volume. I might see if we've got a volume indicator. Because if we see lots of volume here and then not really much volume here at all, it's probably just sellers waiting, right? Taking their positions off here and just waiting and letting the few buyers that are there build up a false sense of bull run here. And then once we get to one of these levels, they come back in and floor it to the downside because the volume's still here, right? We just have to see. But if we see that volume matched, it just means that more than likely they've taking all their positions off here and then they're offsetting them and getting back in here. So if we're seeing similar volume levels, I'm still inclined to go long. Let's have a look. Volume profile, maybe. Can't see that anywhere. Okay, beauty. That's what we want to see. All right. You can see here that this bullish candle had a lot of volume. This one, not so much. This one, a lot of volume. Both of these, because a lot of people aren't expecting a reversal here, but it's significant enough for me. With this candle as well, this is really interesting. Bulls, we're still very much in the picture. We can see that the volume is still quite steep. We're above this down close candle. There's more volume here, and we're slightly below these two big candles. We got 3 green candles straight away. And we're just going to see what sort of volume we're going to be getting on this retracement. I should probably be getting out of the trade right now because I think we're going to come down and tap this 15 minute. But we'll just wait and see. Trying to see where would be a decent spot. If we can come up, this low should be respected. And if it's not, more than likely we're going to push down here. But if we can push up here and take these highs, it's ideal. All right. Bit of an update. We got stopped out break even, which is okay. Didn't really take a loss, break even there. I'm still anticipating us going higher. If you look on the 15, we can see here we have this inversion, like a hammer retail term. We can see here that there's still a lot of volume. So the main volumes we have are this big downward move and then this second downward one. But then we also have significant volume here, and we do look like there's a lot of buyers. We're not that much bearish. These next 2 candles have closed strongly bullish, and the volume is still at these levels. I'm not expecting everyone to all of a sudden just go, okay, we're reversing here, everyone jump back in. But that's a pretty good sign. And then we see here on these down close moves, this first one, anticipating a bit of a strong move, we take out the volume in this candle. We don't take out the volume in this one, but then the subsequent down close candles have been diminishing in volume each time. I still think reversals on the table here. Still holding on to that narrative for the time being. Okay, we got that displacing move now on MNQ. I think we come back to our original... Okay, we still didn't come down to our original entry point right here. Ideally, we'd be wanting to get in here if price can come down and tap us back in. Still hoping that we can come down and tap this for our entry, but it probably does make sense as well, right? We'd want this big gap respected if we are moving to the upside. Bodies above 50%. Nothing's changed in terms of going long. So watching this. Lower time frames here, looking like we're going to run up. We'll look to get in here. It's not the greatest of entries being so high up, but it falls in line with the 15-minute top of the body here. Just wait and see. It probably takes off without us, but just the way that it's moving now. Definitely indicating some momentum to the upside here. So pretty much eclipsed all the volume that's been in this candle with just this 15 minutes as well. Strong as well, above 50% of the wick, like everything that we'd want to see. So ideally we see price come down here. We're gonna enter 3 micros. We've just been waiting, sitting on my hands for this one, and this is a skill I definitely need to work on and develop a bit more. We'll just see how we react as well. I'm not gonna just jump straight in. If we want to floor down and fill out a lot of this, I'd ideally like to see that before we continue the push. But I'm going to put a stop if we don't get down here and we just flip and we want to go higher. More than likely, I think with VWAP sitting here, it's a good opportunity to try it. Depending on how we go though, if we just stop and start moving up here, I'll close this because more than likely it's just a liquidity grab. More than likely going to be just a liquidity grab to then go lower. Ideally, I'd want to see this tapped and then we go. So let's see if it's a liquidity grab or whether we actually displace above. And if we do start seeing some displacement, which we
Order
do,
filled.
we're in. I might just have to close this. Yeah, it's not looking too
Order
great.
filled.
That's okay. That's literally what I was just saying, that it's with these equal highs, it's more than likely just grab liquidity and then we can start to come down a little bit. It's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. No complaints. A lot of entry points missed here, but that's okay. See if we can pull down at least some sort of a pullback here, or we're just gonna rip. Looks like we might just rip. I'm just joining the move here. I feel like when you're playing COD and you're like watching a wall and you're just staring, waiting, and the minute you turn your back, you're like, alright, no one's coming, bang, get shot in the back. I feel like that's just what has happened, but that's alright. You got stops at this low, which it's not great at all. We're coming into this move pretty late, if I'm honest, but that's okay. If we can push up, I'm going to move stops to break even pretty much straight away because I'm wanting price to come down lower. We got so many better pockets to get an entry than where we're at right now. If I had a bit more capital to work with here, I'd definitely be not as worried with the entry, but just with what we got. So stops at break even right here. Ideally, if we come back, then we'd look to get back in, hopefully. Still pushing, which is definitely ideal, but there's just so many spaces for us to come down to for a better entry. I'm really not liking price right now, but I guess we can just put our limit orders. I still like this here. The original 5 minute that we had, where was it? Down here. Oh no, this was the original one. It's an inversion fair value gap as well. Ideally midpoint between there. I'm not too bothered if it comes down and stops us out. I'm anticipating it here, but if we can just keep pushing and these gaps get further and further away, it's better. Hopefully we just eclipse all this and we go for these London highs. Where are they? So, yeah. Here's London High. I'm going to take some off here. Learn my lesson. Just going to be taking partials. Reduces the risk as well as paying yourself. And I just need to work on doing that more. Stop being so greedy. So, yep. We'll check in once again. Alright, so we got out for a bit of profit as we were on the way down here. Just because, as I said before, I don't really want to be entering here on this move. Ideally, would be wanting to get in at one of these levels. And then hopefully have stops below here. But even this tiny gap, I think this is valid enough for a stop. We're just going to watch and see on the lower time frames how far down we want to go before we start moving the opposite direction here. This no doubt is an inversion as well. To be honest, I think shorts aren't looking too bad here. We do get that on, and that's
Order
the same
filled.
model, right? Same model. Stops are going to go above this high. Where's TP? Aim for TP. Got this first one. Partial here, if you can. Lock it by... If you can hit that green line. Cool.
Order filled.
Taking one off there. Risk should be lower now as well. Stops to break even here. Ideally we continue lower. But again at that 5-minute level, so... Just mindful if buyers want to step in. Yeah, it's a little bit early, but just slowly trying to bring us out of drawdown here. I don't need to go for the home runs. We can just take it one trade at a time. Okay, so this is looking like a nice retracement. We got that 15-minute level as well. So what I'm going to do is move this down to this 5-minute here. In line with this 15-minute. We're going to take more partials off. Here, adjust stops just a little bit. I think this will be pretty decent because so many people missed out on retracements to go long here. Like we're dropping pretty aggressively here. I think buyers are just happy to let the sellers take over for a little bit to get better prices. So definitely I am partial, but we'll see what price wants to do here. If it starts reacting pretty heavy, we'll take the last FEG. Just as we saw before on that down close move, we displaced even lower than the 1 hour. We went all the way lower to this 15, so you never know where it could turn around. I wouldn't want to see a lot of this being taken, so I'm actually just going to move it back. Let's not be greedy here. Nice 5-minute continuation. To the downside, we're wanting these lows ripped through now. Wouldn't want to see us retrace up. Looking like we're flipping. I was going to say if we break above these highs here, even though we have pockets in here, still just exit the trade, just because again we're counter trend, we could just blast through, but it's looking like hopefully we can hit this first partial. Alright, peeling a little bit now.
Order filled.
Beauty. So we're taking one more partial off, which is huge. Approaching this 5-minute level now. If we see market structure shift on a lower time frame, that would be ideal. We're dipping past it now on the 15, still pushing. We really wouldn't want to see these highs being taken right now, especially now that we're at the 5-minute BISI and the 15-minute as well. It just depends where we close on the 5. I'm just going to switch this to the 5 and then this one lower, so we can get a good idea. Until I see that shift, we're still going to be holding the bias to go short. Beauty of scalping, take it both directions once you get enough confirmation. Approaching the last minute of this 5-minute. Ideally we bleed just a little bit more. This would be the ideal entry right here. 62% retracement of the move we've just had. Just watching the 15. We got a 15-minute BISI directly below us as well. So at 50% of the move now, the retracing move. VWAP right here too. So if we get a market structure shift above these, just going to adjust stops. This swing high here. Another nice push. This is why I like trading during US as well. Even with talking with you guys, price is actually moving to talk about something. Reflecting on the day, it's been phenomenal. The Topstep payouts came through within a few hours. We've got 2 accounts now very close to requesting another payout as well. If we can close this day up 200, there's 2 more payouts. Like, a lot to be grateful for. It did suck to take that 1.2k loss earlier today. Shouldn't have checked my phone. There's so many things that I shouldn't have done. Shouldn't have let my charts while I was in the trade like that as well. Even partialing once I'm seeing things that I don't like, and then getting out would be ideal, but it is what it is. Here we go, tapping off VWAP, move down pretty aggressively. Just see on this next candle if you want to move lower, whether we flip and move up pretty bullishly off this 5 minute as well. So we're respecting pretty nicely for a 15-second chart. We'll just see what these next few candles want to do. Haven't seen strength to the upside just yet either. See if we respect VWAP here. Ideally we don't. Close just under. Move stops to here now. So nice to really trim this down as well. Still no market structure shift to the upside yet, so for the time being still going to hold. Alright, I will get rid of this limit. Just with the way that we've been pushing down pretty rapidly, we might just push past this and go for this one as well. We'll just watch what price wants to do at these levels here. This could be potentially where we start reversing. Potentially we do have a CB in here. Close pretty bullish on this 30-second. See if we respect. Well, we disrespect. Looks like we disrespect. The push continues, and just with the aggression that I'm seeing, that's why
Order
I just got rid of the limit. There we go. Take a majority off. That is huge to see. Stops can be adjusted here now. Alright, we might go lower. So good idea taking that partial. Very nice. So just watching the 15, I think we're going to be... Okay, we're below that level now. Yeah, I think we run for here. And we'll put our limit order right here. So an even better entry than if we had gotten up here. We'd be in pretty significant drawdown, but we're just going to watch big wick now. This is a good sign of a reversal here. Just going to see whether we get it now or whether we still want to push lower. Got everything where it needs to be for the most part. Okay, so trying again. Okay. We'd need to go here. Alright, that's looking pretty promising. Buyers are stepping back in now. Getting ready to close this one out if we don't break these lows. And again, this model just continues to be so good of seeing the wick. In this case, we closed not below 50%. Having two in a row with this wick and then this 5 minute, this typically should have been the entry stops here. But after seeing this, that's just where I got in. Still pushing lower, which is good to see. I think we're going to run for this 5 minute. Just watching the volume, I'll switch back to the 15. I just want to make sure that we're not absolutely ripping through volume on the downturn here now. So that's 79% of the retracement. I'm probably going to close out the rest of the position here if we can get above. Yeah, which it looks like we are. Just see if we can close above, and then the rest of the position's gone. Alright, we don't get a close. Alright, that's enough.
Order
for me.
filled.
That's enough. Nice 1 minute. Respecting this as well. So this is looking pretty nice. I'm not going to lie. I think this is warranted an entry, to be honest. But just wait and see. And I think we go heavy on the size here. It looks like sellers have really given up here.
Order
so I'm
filled.
jumping in. 50% of this wick. Ideally stop should be here. I'm going to have to wear a pretty big loss for the day, but having recouped most of it, that's fine. It's still less than that 1.2 we had beforehand, so that's okay. I'm willing to wear the risk. We're traders, so got to risk it for the biscuit, man. Still going to take partials at these levels. Nvidia news out tonight as well, so that should be huge. For NASDAQ, it's probably one of the biggest stocks in there. We'll just wait and see what reaction we're really going to get here. The 3 minute, nice respection here as well. Just checking, I'll check the micro time frames here. The only thing I don't like is that we didn't get to the bottom of this 5 minute, but we are at the 79% retracement. So that's something for sure, with hopefully some decent momentum to the upside. Alright, this is beautiful. This is definitely what we want to see right now. I don't want to get too excited, too hyped. I think it's just been a big day emotionally. But yeah, these lows should hopefully be protected. We might come test 50% of this though. That's the only thing that has me a little bit worried. But this reaction, especially off that wick, and that's what we were saying. I think this is what I'm going to work on with my scalping, because I tend to get out either too early or not early enough, and then I'm stopped out near break even. Whereas you can see the evidence of it wanting to do that already. Wicking closing right back at the hourly BISI as well, which is pretty huge. Now we've tapped the hourly BISI again, and we're looking to have a bit of support to the upside. So yeah, London highs, we've got one. We've got these daily BISIs, SIBIs, sorry, that we identified before that we might find as little sticking points. But yeah, majority of the move, hopefully, if we can get to all-time highs, be a pretty big day. Okay, so Aussie coming back now down to 45. That's enough for me to close it. And I've just got to make sure that I'm not getting too greedy. Just got to keep my eye on price, watch what it's doing. I don't want to see it floor down again, because that's going to warrant us getting out of the trade here now. It will be almost at our limit for the day, especially being down so deep. It was a wild day, very wild day today. And then usually like that Thursday push as well. However we close today at the end of the day, tomorrow more than likely will just follow suit. Hopefully we can get a pretty bullish close. Hopefully now is just the start of the push. Just watching, because we did have a pretty steep downward move here as well now. Keeping my eyes on this. Go back to the 15-minute. Looking like a nice 15-minute closure here too. This is what we want to see. Respecting this BISI. We did tap very close to that 5-minute that we did outline. Everything's looking pretty good. That doesn't mean that it can't flip on us as well. So just got to be cautious. There's a little gap here below this low, so it could be a liquidity grab before we boost up. Just checking on the lower time frames, making sure there's no other. Realistically, it should be here. Hopefully we can get some partials along the way if we do want to hit one of these spots and then come back, but ideally we just rip from here. Basically we chopped for 3 hours in here, but we did end up buying back in at these lows, and it went right up, and then we got stopped out due to the Topstep rule where it just automatically stops you out. But we were up 2.8 on these 3 accounts, which is huge considering all the events of yesterday. This one still has a 280, which is a bit unfortunate. It is the next day. I'll save that for the next episode. Thank you so much for watching with me. It just took so long. I didn't want to keep recording, and then you guys are just sitting there through chop. It would be super boring. And then I went to bed. Hopefully the next episode will be payout day again. 2 of those accounts hit day 5, so I'm going to request that on a new episode and check in with you guys later. Thanks for joining in. Peace.